Hey everyone, so I thought I'd come on. It's been a while since I've done a Saunassembly, so I thought I'd come on and just share something that I've been thinking about quite a lot lately, and something that a lot of people have been talking to me about. So I see a lot of clients predominantly for things like anxiety, but the more I look at it and the more that I speak to people, a lot of things fall under the same sort of categories. So when you're looking at things like ADHD, anxiety, stress, or you just on a really basic level, the feeling of being overwhelmed, overthinking, it doesn't always have to have a label to it first and foremost. And also, by the way, it doesn't always have to be a negative thing. So for example, I see my ADHD as a bit of a superpower because it allows me hyper focus on the things that I'm interested in. And now that I've learned to sort of harness it, it's become a real skill and a real asset. But of course, there are downsides to all of these things, and they're all classified as cognitive distortions. So I just want to share something, because almost every client I see, there are 4 or 5 things that I get them to do across the board every single time, no matter what the symptoms that they present with, really, as long as it lives in that world of cognitive distortion. So I thought I'd share those things for free. Now, it's worth saying that 2 of the things that underpin all of this in terms of a person's progression are 2 things that you probably would struggle to do on your own, and that's a guided meditation session that I do with almost every client, probably once every week or once every other week. And then also talking therapy, traditional sort of counselling to allow people to get things off the chest, and sometimes just steer them slightly to think of things in a slightly different way. Those 2 things are very hard to do alone, but the rest of these things actually will get you to a massive improvement, and quite quickly. So again, when I see clients, I talk to them about the fact that my goal is to get them to a point where they can stop seeing me as quickly as possible. I'm not in this to try and take money off people. I want to make sure that we get them sort of better and to a place that they're comfortable with as quickly as possible. So I thought I'd share these things. So the first thing that I talk to everyone about is practicing gratitudes. And it seems very wishy-washy, I think, to a lot of people, this, and you wonder how it can help you. And I can talk for hours about exactly how it does help you, but trust me, it definitely helps in order to reshape the mind and actually recircuit the mind. So just getting up every morning, and level 1 of this would be to write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And you should start it, the sentence should be, I am grateful for, and then whatever it is. Try and come up with different things every day, and you'll see the improvement over time. Now, advanced levels of that would be that you've got someone that you are accountable to, that you send that to, and as a voice clip, because it's much more powerful to say it out loud, and it's much better to know that you're letting someone down if you don't do it. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 would be that we journal. Now, people do this at different times of day, but I like to look at this as just focusing the mind on writing down anything that triggered you in the day, anything you became aware of that made you especially anxious, overwhelmed, triggered some overthinking. Just becoming aware of it rather than trying to fix it, and just write it down. What was it? But then also noting down some wins from the day in that journal. What are the things that you can celebrate that you did well? And it can be the tiniest of things, and just note that down in a journal. So that's number 2. Number 3 is very similar, and that is that before we go to bed of a night, a lot of people start their overthinking and get very anxious before bedtime, especially if there's something coming up the next day. And the mind will not let go of something until it feels that you've actioned it. And quite often, when we try to become aware of things that are making us anxious, we realise that there is nowhere near as much as we thought. So this 3rd thing is to brain dump. Okay, mind map, scribble, whatever it is that people want to say on this, but basically have something by your bedside, a notepad, where you just empty your thoughts. This is not about writing down everything that you felt negative about. It doesn't matter about negatives or positives. You're just emptying your brain. And quite often when I start doing this, I start with just doodles. So it makes no sense whatsoever what I'm writing down. But you just dumping it. Because as soon as the brain knows that you've done that, it thinks, okay, we've taken action. I no longer need to retain that. I don't need to keep that up here because it's now down there on the page. So making sure that you do that as a brain dump. And then number 4 for me, okay, I'm going to give you 5 things that I think really work. Number 4 is cold water. So I know that this is a big one. It's a bit of a hyped topic at the moment. And you can find research, by the way, to tell you that it doesn't work, probably just like everything else. But from practice and experience and from taking clients through this as well, there's no doubt in my mind that cold water exposure works to still the mind, but also as well for loads of other reasons and benefits that, again, I won't go into on this clip. But if you can start off with just 10 seconds of cold water at the end of your normal shower each day, you'll definitely feel the benefits. And work that up. So try and get it to half a minute to a minute, and eventually maybe you want to start doing ice baths and cold water dips in waterfalls and all kinds of wonderful things. But start off with something very simple and do some cold water exposure. And number 5. So number 5 is meditation. Now, if you're like me and you have ADHD, then when you first start doing meditation, my God, is it difficult. So to be still, to just be alone with your thoughts, to not allow all kinds of intrusive thoughts to come in, to think about the things that you've got to do the rest of the day, it can be difficult, but it's like anything, it's a skill that you can practice. And again, I can help you. So reach out and I can give you tips, I can share some videos, there are things that you can do to try and get into this. But just a few minutes a day of meditation where you sit and you're still and you focus on absolutely nothing or on one single item, which can be a flickering candle, for example. There are lots of ways to do this and practice this, but some form of meditation is absolutely essential in your routine. So try and put those things into your life. Start off with maybe some kind of habit tracker. Get someone that you can be accountable to, because it really helps to know that you're going to share every day that you've done these things. It focuses the mind and it makes you do them. And then let me know. Hopefully that helps.